Can you put it a bit further, please? Up.
Down, please.
88,512,370.22. So we are submitting it for the record because these are public records which our colleague had actually asked for. And if we will base it from the original SALN at 2008 to the 2024 SALN, Madam Chair, it is an increase of more than, I think, 1,200%. So we leave it to the Justice Committee as to whether or not we would consider it.
There was an increase of 10
As a-
million pesos, Madam Chair,
Sorry?
from 77 million to...
No, the original
88.
SALN at 2008.
The impeachment proceedings in the Committee on Justice against Chief Justice Corona. This representation has attended since 2007, 4 impeachment complaints, which I have been a member of this committee since 2007. The first complaint was against the President, GMA. 2007, I was new, dismissed. Then we have Gutierrez, Lucidita, she resigned. And then we have Corona. On record, Madam Chair, precisely, this representation voted no to the Corona complaint. Because to me, there was no sufficiency of substance. And in the resolution of the House of Representatives, I voted no. In the Senate, it proceeded because the majority, of course, with the president at the time pushing for that, he was therefore impeached. In other words, the proceedings there are completely different now. I don't know that during the time they allowed it, but here our chairman is making sure that we follow the requirement of substance, that there should be sufficiency in form and substance, and there should be recital of facts.
We called the witnesses.
I am recognized.
Can we ask the
That
committee to
will
call the witnesses?
happen.
Because we can call them.
That will happen after the determination of sufficiency in substance.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Chu is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, considering that the rules of court is suppletory to the rules of impeachment, then probably the remedy is, if there is vague allegation, the remedy is for the respondent to file a bill of particulars. Or, probably, Madam Chair, is for her to put it as an affirmative defense in her answer. And then later on, it can be answered in a reply by the complainant. That is the remedy, but not to dismiss this ground or this case. Thank you, Madam Chair.
The Honorable Suntay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, as correctly pointed out, under Article 5, the allegation states, respondents engage in conduct indicative of unexplained wealth and material non-disclosure of her SALN. Pero ang malaking problema, pag tinignan natin, hindi naka-attach what SALN we are talking about. Kung walang SALN na naka-attach, walang baseline para makita natin what was allegedly omitted. Ano yung inconsistent? Then I was looking, going back to the complaint, there is no recital eh. So paano natin malalaman which inconsistencies are we talking about? There is 811 pages dito sa complaint. Karamihan ng attachment, acknowledgement receipt, PSA certification, DepEd certification, isang audit memorandum at saka notice of disallowance. Pero both the salary and the bank account being stated, wala naman. Merong allegation of unexplained wealth, pero hindi rin sinabi dito anong basis nung unexplained wealth. Which property are we talking about? What acquisition are we referring to? Without all those things, then the narration of facts is incomplete. There is no nexus, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
Our parliamentary status is we are determining the sufficiency in substance in line with the fifth ground of the fourth impeachment complaint that corresponds to unexplained wealth and the SALN of the respondent. The Honorable De Lima is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a brief point. Ultimate facts do not pertain to evidentiary facts. So SALNs, bank accounts, bank transactions are evidentiary facts. Now, just to address the belief of some that there is there is absolutely no averment of fact in relation to Article 5. May nakita po akong isa. I was still trying to look for more because this is a lengthy reading. Paragraph 76. And paragraph 76 is found under the statement of facts, and antecedent facts. And that is before the discussion on the articles, the main discussion of the articles. So we cannot segregate what are discussed or laid down in that portion of statement of antecedent facts with the discussion now. So paragraph 76, as I said, this can fall under a narration or a statement of an ultimate fact. What does it say? Public records and investigative leads indicate the existence of bank accounts, property transactions, and other financial movements that are disproportionate to respondent Sara Duterte's lawful income and not fully reflected in her statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth. Isn't this an essential, material, ultimate fact that can be supported, substantiated during the evidentiary stage of these proceedings? Thank you very much.
The Honorable Nazal and then the Honorable Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pag binasa po nyo itong mga nakalagay sa Article 5 regarding unexplained wealth, SALN violations, bank records, and financial forensics, nakalagay lahat sila based on assumptions in preliminary documentary leads, hindi po solid proof. It keeps saying that a forensic review will uncover unexplained assets, but as of now, wala naman napakita yung complaint. Wala man lang attachments na kahit ano to prove itong sinasabi na unexplained wealth. First, the complaint talks about supposed discrepancies in the SALNs, but differences in reporting do not automatically mean someone was dishonest. Hindi po ako abogado, but I'm an economist. Bago po ako naging congressman, alam naman po natin na property values change. Assets can be bought or sold at different times. To immediately label this as pattern of concealment without clear proof of intent is unfair and speculative at best, Madam Chair. Second, kailangan daw po ng forensic financial review to reconcile declared income and assets sa SALN. Identify unexplained inflows or transfers and trace the disposition of public funds alleged to have been diverted. Hindi ba dapat po trabaho ito ng complainant na mapakita ng ebidensya sa reklamo niya para maging sufficient in substance? Third, the complaint points to large cash disbursements from confidential funds and say these correlate with certain financial movements. But yung mismong complaint admits in paragraph 237 that correlation is not conclusive. Suspicion based only on timing does not prove personal gain. So, mag-i-impeach po tayo ng Vice President na binoto ng 32 million na tao na Pilipino dahil lang sa suspetsa. Third, the mention of intermediaries, third-party accounts, corporations, or relatives is likewise made to sound suspicious. But many lawful transactions are done through representatives or business entities. These arrangements are common and legal. Dapat man lang may katibayan o pruweba na ginagamit ang mga ito para sa mga illegal na gawain. Wala naman pinakita na kahit anong dokumento sa complaint. Fourth, alam natin, Madam Chair, na ang bank secrecy is not absolute, pero hindi natin ito dapat ma-set aside based on unverified claims. Investigation should be based on real and credible evidence, not on fishing expeditions in the hope of finding something. Most importantly, ang impeachment ay isang seryosong constitutional process. Kaya dapat, it should not be based on guesses or on what someone thinks might be discovered later. The burden is on the accusers to prove actual unexplained wealth. The Vice President should not be expected to disprove mere suspicions. At the end of the day, Madam Chair, Article 5 is asking people to assume guilt based on what might be found later, not on what has clearly been proven now. Allegations and suspicions are not the same as evidence. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Next is the Honorable Rodriguez.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. With due respect to our new Deputy Minority Leader, she tried to link, to explain Article 5, which has zero recital of facts. When I explain wealth, sal and violation, back records, and financial forensics by going to the statement of facts. And that's just right, that we can cite that. However, what does paragraph 76 state? Are these recital of facts? I will read, Madam Chair, and it is for all of us to determine whether this is a recital of ultimate facts constituting the offense. It says here, public records and investigative leads indicate existence of bank accounts. What are these public records? What are these investigative leads? You know, Madam Chair, you can see here, the fourth impeachment complaint is really a big volume of annexes. There is no annex on this particular, what are the public records? Nothing. See? What are the investigative leads? There has to be statements. You cannot just say, for example, that there is draft and corruption without also stating the ultimate facts constituting that. You cannot just say, malversation. You cannot do that. There has to be a statement of facts. Now, you say public records. What are these public records? To give us an indication that there's a crime has been committed, that a impeachable offense has been committed. Nothing. And then it says other financial movements. Very vague. Other financial movements. There are a lot of financial movements. In the stock exchange, in the trade and commerce of people. So, what are these financial movements? And they say that are disproportionate to respondents' lawful income and not fully reflected in their salary. Which salary? 2022, 2023, 24, 25? No statement here. It's a general blanket statement. These are not recital of facts. So therefore, paragraph 76 does not support Article 5. So once again, there is absolutely no, that's only insufficient, nothing, no substance in Article 4. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
Honorable Ridon.
we'd like to, before indulging...
Before we proceed, may I just acknowledge first the Honorable Paulo Henry M. Marcoleta from Sagip Party List. You may proceed.
Before indulging our good colleague, Congressman Rodriguez, on the public records that is actually looking for, I'd like to read for the record the articles of impeachment of the Corona impeachment process, in which former Chief Justice Renato Corona was convicted, and SALN was one of its bases, no? It was a very general narration of the facts, and I think this should be the same standard, because this has undertaken the entirety of the process of impeachment, from the express route towards final conviction at the level of the Senate. So I will read it. Madam Chair, (2.4) Respondent is likewise suspected and accused of having ill-gotten wealth, acquiring assets of high values, and keeping bank accounts with huge deposits. It has been reported that respondent has, among others, a 300 square meter apartment in a posh Mega World property development at the fort in Taguig. Has he reported this as he is constitutionally required under Article 11, Section 17 of the Constitution in his Statement of Assets and Liabilities and Net Worth, SAL-N? Is this acquisition sustained and duly supported by his income as a public official? Since his assumption as associate and subsequently Chief Justice, has he complied with this duty of public disclosure? We are stating it for the record, Madam Chair, because this is the precise wording of the Corona impeachment articles of impeachment which had proceeded to the Senate and had resulted in a conviction, Madam Chair. So I think it is very clear that this is the process that we have to undertake, and what the endorsers would want to undertake during the process of full proceedings can be undertaken. It does not require what our colleague is actually asking today. It would be good had the annexes been there, but is actually not in fact required for full impeachment proceedings to proceed. But I think the crux of the matter is, what is the definition of unexplained wealth, Madam Chair? Because I think this is something that we would want to be able to talk about as well. Yung pong unexplained wealth, mga kaibigan, meron pong very specific definition yan sa atin pong mga batas. A public officer and employee acquires property during their incumbency. So if we are talking about the Vice President, from 2007, from her first year in public office to date. And second element is the amount of property is manifestly out of proportion to their official salary and other confirmed local income. And at this point, I will indulge our colleague about the public records on which this committee can actually take judicial notice of. So I will read to the record, Madam Chair, the totality of the net worth of the Vice President from 2008. 2008, filed December 31, 2008, net worth 18,493,617. SAL-N 2009, net worth 18,281,000.
May we be clarified, Honorable Ridon, of the reference from which you are reading?
Well, we have the references of the SAL-Ns themselves.
That is the
Madam
SAL-N
Chair.
of the Vice President?
And some of the public, available public information relating to the
May we
SAL-Ns.
know specifically which document
Well,
is
I will
that?
present for the record the most recent SAL-N that had been released by the Ombudsman, Madam Chair. I think it is something that can be flashed on the screen. But I think what should be noted is the original SAL-N net worth, which was 18 million, Madam Chair. 18 million.
With the indulgence of the Justice members, we will be flashing on screen the document which is the reference of the Honorable Ridon.
Yeah, but to have a starting point, Madam Chair, the original SAL-N 2008 is 18,493,617. It was filed December 31, 2008. So we will be flashing the SAL-Ns for 2023 and 2024. May we request, Madam Chair, that the Secretary be directed to flash?
For the record, the SAL-N from which the Honorable Ridon is first referring to is the 2008 SAL-N, which provides for an 80 million net worth. And with the indulgence of the members, we will be flashing the 2023 and 2024 SAL-N.
Madam Chair, this is the 2023 SAL-N. We can proceed to see the totality, the net worth, Madam Chair. 2023, can we go down further, please? A little bit down. Ayan, net worth po. Net worth for 2023, 77,508,841 pesos. This is for 2023, Madam Chair. Can we flash 2024, Secretariat, please?
Kindly flash the 2024.
Can we
Scroll
go-
down for,
Okay, yeah,
please.
that's correct. For 2024, released by the Office of the Ombudsman, net worth of the Vice President is, can you put it a bit further, please? Up.
Down, please.
88,512,370.22. So we are submitting it for the record because these are public records which our colleague had actually asked for. And if we will base it from the original SALN at 2008 to the 2024 SALN, Madam Chair, it is an increase of more than, I think, 1,200%. So we leave it to the Justice Committee as to whether or not we would consider it,
There was an increase of 10
As a-
million pesos, Madam Chair,
sorry?
from 77 million to
No, the original
88.
SALN at 2008,
How
Which
much
was-
is the 2008 SALN?
18 million,
1.8. Is it 1.8 or 80?
1.8.
It's 1.8 million. Do you have a copy of the SALN also of 2008?
We will locate it, Madam Chair.
So, we're stating for the record, it was being shared to us by the Honorable Ridon that per 2008 SALN, the net worth is 1.8 million. And now we are shown by 2023 and 2024 SALN, which shows net worth of 77 million and 88 million respectively. Do you have any additional manifestation?
That is correct, Madam Chair. So we leave it to the House Committee on Justice to make a determination on whether the comparison between the original SALN at 2008 and the current SALN at 2024 constitutes unexplained wealth, which is essentially part of the impeachable offenses that we would want to proceed with at this point, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
The Honorable Rodriguez.
2 points. First point is that the impeachment proceedings in the Committee on Justice against Chief Justice Corona, this representation has attended since 2007, 4 impeachment complaints, which I have been a member of this committee since 2007. The first complaint was against the President, GMA. 2007, I was new, dismissed. Then we have Gutierrez, Residita, she resigned. And then we have Corona. On record, Madam Chair, precisely, this representation voted no to the Corona complaint. Because to me, there was no sufficiency of substance. And in the resolution of the House of Representatives, I voted no. In the Senate, it proceeded because the majority, of course, with the president at the time pushing for that, he was therefore impeached. In other words, the proceedings there are completely different now. I don't know that during the time they allowed it, but here our chairman is making sure that we follow the requirement of substance, that there should be sufficiency in form and substance, and there should be recital of facts. Well, in that particular case, I lost. I was against it. It proceeded. But I voted no. I did not want Chief Justice Corona to be impeached. Later on, it has come out that there have been lobbies with senators to impeach Corona, you see. So, therefore, that is what happened before. But now, Madam Chair, we are with you you are presiding this very well, and we want to have the real recital of facts constituting the offense charge. And certainly, based on this, and based on the complaint, and based on the annexes, wala. Now, a new matter is injected by our friend, Congressman Ridon, stating about SALENS of 2023, 2024. Is that particular SALN, has that been authenticated by the Ombudsman? Do you have a copy of authentication of the Ombudsman?
Honorable Ridon?
I don't think that is required. It is public record, Madam
Well,
Chair.
you know, there's no automatic authentication, public record, all the records. There has to be authentication. When you go to a proceeding like this, it's the Justice Committee of this country, of the House of Representatives.
Madam Chair.
You cannot just state that it's a public record. Now, where is it? Where is it? Is it found in the complaint? Because we are limited, Madam Chair, to the complaint and to the annexes. Here we are. Here we are. We're limited with this. To inject something based on the statement, and there is no authentication that we have, there is no such thing as automatic authentication. In any proceeding, you have to authenticate.
No,
So
Madam-
therefore, there can be,
Madam Chair.
unless there is an authentication and the Ombudsman has already certified that, we cannot take cognizance of that particular injection of this new matter in the hearing. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Just to be clear.
Honorable De Lima first, and then Honorable
excuse me,
Po, and then
Madam Chair.
Honorable Ridon.
Authentication can be done at the evidentiary stage. No need for authentication at this point. The committee can subpoena, can request copies of those SALNs from the official custodian, the Office of the Ombudsman. So authentication at this point is not needed. Thank you.
I disagree, Madam Chair. May I be just one sentence? Our
Proceed.
verification. I will read now the verification. Verification of this. What does it say? In the verification of the
Personal
complaint.
knowledge or authentic records.
Yes, precisely. We have to have ultimate statement of facts, personal knowledge of the complainant, Attorney Cabrera, and then, of course, here we go. I will read now the verification of Attorney Cabrera. Aha.
I think it
The
was just one
allegations-
sentence, Madam Chair.
Let
This
us
is one
wait.
sentence.
Let us
So
wait
this is my last
until
sentence.
he finishes with his
No, that's
manifestation.
3 sentences already, Madam Chair.
My 3 sentences is considered as 1 sentence.
All right, Madam Chair.
The allegations, number 3, the allegations in the complaint are true and correct based on my personal knowledge or based on authentic documents. See? That's very clear. Nobody can debate with that. And if Congressman Ridon says this is authentic, that is his word. We have to get authentic documents signed and duly certified by the Office of the Ombudsman.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Honorable
That is
Rodriguez,
5 sentences, but considered as
that was
one.
one paragraph already. The Honorable Ridon.
Madam Chair, it's a very basic question. That is an irrelevant response. You know why? Because firstly, I am not the complainant. I am not bound by the verification. Hindi ba? Why are you talking about authentic records? I am speaking as a House member and participating in the House Committee on Justice. The point is not on point, Madam Chair. And my question is basically, are we being challenged that what is being presented is actually not the true representation of the SALN of the Vice President for 2023 and 2024? Kasi parang ganun ho yung dating. And more importantly, dinabas ho ito. Nakita ho ng bayan yung 88 million
Madam Chair.
nalaman po ng SALN. So, tingin ko that should not be considered,
Chair.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Po, and then the Honorable Suntay, and then the Honorable De Lima.
Madam Chair, so we can move forward already. I just want to clarify for the body whether or not the Honorable Congressman Rufus Rodriguez is asking us to ignore the silence that were presented earlier. Is that what we're being asked?
That is precisely to answer. Can I answer, Madam Chair?
You're recognized,
You
Honorable
cannot inject
Rodriguez.
anything not found in the complaint and the annex. Because then the requirement that Attorney Cabrera, is of personal knowledge and or authentic. That is very clear in all verifications. Authentic.
Madam,
We
Madam
go
Chair,
back to Honorable Po.
Well, then, to that point, I believe that we should move into merit so that that can be admitted as part of the evidence, no, in
Madam
the,
Chair,
in this
I
situation.
well, he's right to ignore it, but Madam Chair, just one last
Yes,
one
you may
point.
proceed.
Well, he's right to ignore it, but firstly, he was challenging the availability of public records. So we were submitting the public records actually available. And secondly, I am not asking that it be made part of the complaint. This is being submitted for the consideration of the body that it is untrue that public records relating to SALN, unexplained wealth, do not currently exist. It exists. And we had been submitting it for the record, Madam Chair, irrespective of whatever documents that had not been submitted by this complaint. Madam Chair, I submit.
The Honorable Suntay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, Congressman Ridon stated two facts. First, tama yung sinabi niya, he's not a complainant, but he's trying to introduce new documents which he wants us to consider. Second, the document he is trying to introduce is not to the knowledge of the complainant. So we cannot consider it here because it's not part of the complaint.
The Honorable De Lima.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Nothing prevents this committee from directing the production of SALNs as essential documents in determining the facts of these proceedings. Impeachment is sui generis. We have all the plenary power or authority to do that, just to arrive at the correct conclusion, just to substantiate and establish the necessary and essential facts. That is my position, Madam Chair.
Just like any other manifestation of the justice members, the document presented by the Honorable Redon forms part of his manifestation. And
Madam Chair.
therefore, all of your manifestations, including the documents which were shared, will become basis